Hi, this is Mukaddas. So today I am going to start maybe third video on research methodology. I have taught about the introduction of research and qualitative and quantitative research with the basic introduction of their designs. So basically in this video I will cover the designs of qualitative research. Basically I will describe or explain three designs: case study, ethnography, and then phenomenology. So basically I will teach you definitions, concepts, and the tools which we used in the designs, like which tools we can use in case study, which tools we can use in phenomenology and then ethnography. So let's start. So I show you this chart in my previous video as well. So basically today we will cover the designs of qualitative research, but except one, that is grounded theory. So basically grounded theory will be uploaded in my second video. So here the first design in qualitative research is phenomenology. Basically the name shows the meaning of the designs. So basically phenomenon means the process of something. Okay, so here let's see what is phenomenology actually. But before the beginning of phenomenology, let me tell you a term which can be used in this design. So we have lived experiences. Let's see what is lived experience. See, we have experience, but this is lived experience. So basically what is lived experience? Basically when we think about an incident and it reminds that same specific moment of memory. See, we have a few moments in our life uh, about those. Whenever we think, we feel the same, we feel the same intensity of the moment. Like if someone has a cancer and he went for a chemotherapy, but now he has recovered from the cancer, but whenever he tells someone and he think about that moment, so he can cry, he or she can cry, and he and she can feel the same feeling, he and she can experience the same feeling of that specific moment. So lived experience means the experience which we can feel the same again and again when we think about that incident or about that experience. Okay. See, another definition of lived experience: feel the same by talking or thinking about that incident or experience. So when we think about an experience or an incident and we feel the same intensity towards that incident, so that means that is our lived experience. So you can have a question that how lived experience is different from the experience. So yes, see, experience means we are talking about general experience. It can be experience of teaching, it can be experience of going somewhere, it doesn't about our feeling. We are not associating our feelings here, but when we are talking about lived experience, that means we are mixing our emotions, feelings as well. Okay, so this is the difference. Basically experience is generally when we are talking about experience of teaching, experience of going somewhere, experience of a picnic, but when we are talking about lived experiences, that means we can experience those same feelings again and again whenever we think about the same incident or experience. Okay, now we have phenomenology. So basically phenomenology is a design of qualitative research, basically in which researchers identify lived experiences of people and deposit them in a document. See, in phenomenology researchers finds different experiences, different lived experiences of the people about different objects, different phenomena, different events. Okay, and like their anger and happiness, about everything. They just identify their experiences, their lived experiences, that how they were feeling about about in a trauma, or how they were feeling in how were their experience in chemotherapy session, or how they were experiencing in the first love, we can say first love. Yeah. So basically we say ना कि people cannot forget their फर्स्ट लव के लोग अपनी पहली मोहब्बत नहीं भूलते. तो इट्स लाइक अ लिव्ड एक्सपीरियंस. वेन एवर वी थिंक अबाउट आवर फर्स्ट लव, वी फील द सेम थिंग, we feel the same intensity towards that. Okay. After that, researchers put their lived experiences in art form of documents, so others peoples can just experience from the lived experiences of others peoples by reading those documents. Okay. So basically the purpose of phenomenology is to experience peoples without experiencing things. Let me make it more clear. See, whenever I don't have I am not fall in love with someone for the first time, but I want to feel that feeling. So whenever I want to feel that feeling, so I want to experience it, how people feel at the time, specific moment. So I'll just read those documents, and then I can experience their feelings. So that was a commonsensical or logical example. Maybe it can be clear to all of you. Then we have so in the next slide we have more elaboration of phenomenology. So basically lived experiences can be positive as well as negative. Positive in a way when it associates with happiness or your good memory, and it can be negative when it reminds you to your sorrow and their not as much good memories. Here we have two examples. First is a positive and second is negative. So first is positive, that is experience of first time go for perform Hajj. So basically we have emotional attachment with which Hajj and Umrah. So basically when we go for the first time, of course we have a different feeling, and whenever we reminds those moments, we can feel them again and again with same intensity. So this is positive attitude, positive lived experience, because it gives us happiness. Okay. Then we have a negative lived experience as well, like experience for the first session of chemotherapy of cancer. So whenever we remind our chemotherapy or patients of cancer, remind their those moment of chemotherapy, that is a really painful therapy, so they can feel the same intensity again, and they may cry as well. Their eyes can be tearing as well due to the same emotions and same intensity of experiencing those moment again. Then we have two types of phenomenology. Basically there are two types in phenomenology. Types are based on the presentation or representation of data which researchers get from the participants, like their lived experiences. So basically firstly we have descriptive phenomenology, then we have interpretive phenomenology. So interpretive phenomenology, basically interpretation. The word interpretive comes from the interpretation. Interpretations means the meaning which is based on your understanding. Okay. So basically we can say that it is subjective. When the researcher write about the lived experience of someone, so he can give his or her opinions, like how he is interpreted those experiences. So it depends on researcher. Okay, because this is something like subjective. Subjective means ke it is not purely what the participants say, but it is something which is based on the understanding of our researcher. Let's have an example. We can say we have a narration like direct and indirect speech. So whenever someone say to someone about something, but that someone tells someone about the first people, so he can change the reported speech into indirect speech. So basically interpretive phenomenology is like that. We just change direct speech into indirect speech, we can say it, because it is influenced by researcher, or it is influenced by his or her way of writing or expressing or thinking about something. Then we have descriptive mean whenever we describe something without adding our understanding or our opinions or our interpretation. So basically describing means कि whenever researcher present a data or a report without being biased or subjective, he is just describing whatever participants said to him. Okay, so basically we have two types in phenomenology, which are based on the way how the researcher present the data from the participants. First is descriptive and interpretative. Basically descriptive is not subjective, because the researcher only describes whatever a participant said to him or her. And we have interpretative is we can say it's subjective, because it's based on the understanding and interpretation of researcher. Basically I maybe forgot to write about the tools which are used in phenomenology. So basically we use interview protocol in phenomenology, and in which we can have only one question, so one unstructured question, because whenever we ask participants about their experience, so of course we can have one or maybe two questions about their experience. So sometimes what happen, a researcher just ask an unstructured question, and participant continuously is speaking, so we use unstructured interview in phenomenology. The second design is case study. So basically let's see what is case. So basically case mean we can say case is a topic, we can say it's a main thing in a topic. Like I have written a definition of case. So anything which is studied in a research, like place, people, etc, phenomenon as well. So basically case can be anything which is studied in your research, which is the main thing in your research. Like whenever I was in my final year, so basically my thesis was about the perceptions of the students towards CLT and GTM. So it was a case study in Institute of English Language and Literature, but my case was second year English language teaching students. So basically my case was a context, a place. Okay, so it can be my case could be like English language teaching techniques. So basically case can be anything on which you want to study deeply, in depth study. Okay, case study, in the design of case study, basically you study case or cases deeply, and you have given something new on the basis of your research, on the basis of your in-depth analysis. Okay, now see the definition of case study. It involves conducting an in-depth analysis of a certain case or cases, I told you, in order to investigate and provide new perspectives, theories or hypotheses. Yes. So basically we do in-depth analysis or in detail study to give something new, like new perspectives and new theories and new hypotheses, etc. So an in-depth study on a specific case or subject. So basically as I have written here, subject or case, I told you that the main thing is case, the main topic on which we are studying, that is our case. So basically that's why I have written or. Case or subject both is same. So case can be a person, a group, event or phenomenon. I hope I have successfully just transferred my knowledge about a case to you. That I hope now you have some basic idea about the case, that what is case. Now we have tools. So basically at least we use two tools in case study, because this is a detailed study. So that's why we use two tools for confirmation of the data. If I want to use interview protocol, so I have to choose whether I either observation sheet or focus group, okay, for collecting my data. So basically I choose interview protocol and observation sheet, yes, as a tool of my research. So third design of qualitative research is ethnography. So see, I always tell you that please look at the word, analyze the word, okay. So ethnography, if we break this word, ethno is come from ethnicity, ethnic, ethnicity, it means something related to your race, your culture, your community. So basically in ethnography we study culture, we study about the culture of different peoples, about their communities, their groups, to know about their perspectives, their way of life, their environment, their traditional, their values, and etc. So basically to know about the culture we study, or basically researcher studies a qualitative study that can be occur in ethnography or ethnographic design. Quickly have a look on the definition of ethnography. Is uses to understand the culture of a group or community through participation and close observation of that culture. So basically here we use two tools, observation and interviews. So basically whenever we want to study a culture, so we have to be near with that culture. So whenever we or researcher want to do research which on the base of ethnography, so of course sometimes they just live with their community. So basically here the word participation refers that they also participate, they can be live with the peoples of those culture to observe them. This observation is close observation because they are living with them. Furthermore, a researcher engaged themselves with a culture often for many years to experience the environment, tradition, and way of life. Yes, so researcher live with them, they observe them closely to know about their culture, tradition, their way of life, and they research. Often they research for many years, like they can get maybe 3 years, 4 years, 1 2 3 years. It can take them a long time for complete this research, okay. So tools, we have two tools, observation and interview protocol. So that's all for today. Today I have covered three designs of qualitative research. So now we have last one design, that is grounded theory. So inshallah in my next video I will cover grounded theory as well. So if you have any query and question, you can ask me. Thank you so much.